You're not suffering from a lack of information anymore, especially if you have chronic health issues. It's quite the opposite. You're drowning in it, and you need help navigating it. Back in the day, pre-Google, experts were just information gatekeepers. That's all it really took. They had access to all of the info that we didn't. If you wanted to buy a house, you had to use a realtor because they were the only ones who could access the MLS, but now everyone can. However, in contrast, if you had a legal issue, you'd go to an attorney. If you had a health issue, you saw a doctor and blindly trusted. And the last two are still considered experts today, but it's not just because they have the information, it's because they know how to use it and apply it to your specific needs, and this has not changed. The internet and AI have leveled the information playing field. It's redefined what makes someone an expert because just having that information isn't enough anymore. Google, ChatGPT, online courses, YouTube, we are inundated with information now. But when it comes to health management, people are more overwhelmed and confused than maybe ever. Why? Because they still don't know if it applies to them, if it's reliable, or how to make any of it actionable. Picture it. You're at a long-awaited doctor's appointment to go over the symptoms that you've been struggling with. And 15 minutes later, they check their watch and your internal dialogue is already resolved to going home and maybe refining that latest ChatGPT prompt to continue your search for answers. And you start climbing off the exam table, the paper's crinkling, and you're hearing the same thing that you've heard at every other appointment. I'll order those tests, here's a few prescriptions, and I'll see you back in a month. But now, imagine the doctor still sitting there looking a little confused, and they say, well, wait, don't you have questions? I didn't schedule my next patient for 30 more minutes so I could make sure that you understood everything and we could talk about your options and what you can do in addition to what I've prescribed. Well, it still isn't quite what happens. But you've done the hard part, the research, the appointments, the testing, all while thinking, I wish I had someone who understood all of this to bounce things off of and ask questions, but you do. This is why I started Lucid Med on YouTube and recently lucidmedhub.com. Because if you're like me, you type a question into chat or Google and it'll spit out a pretty comprehensive answer, but then you see a few terms that you don't know. So you open a new tab and type that question into search. And before you know it, you're 5 new chats in and you can't even recall what your original question was. So I cut through the noise, simplify the science, and give you exactly what matters for your specific condition. Because it's not about more information. It's about making sense of the information that you already have. So head over to Lucid Med on YouTube and see if I've done a video on your specific condition or prescribed medication. I probably have. Or you can schedule a call with me on lucidmedhub.com. Yes, it will be me that you talk to, and you finally get some clarity in the midst of all of this chaos.